news source, and it's always free.
And that's the way it is.
WAVE weather.
I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre with WAVE weather. We're looking at clear skies headed through the nighttime hours, the temperature dropping to 43. Sunshine on Tuesday, a high of 69. It's going to be clear and cool Tuesday nights with a low down to 45. And then we get sunshine for Wednesday with a high of 63. And that sunshine will continue right into Thursday and Friday. Now, Thursday's high will be somewhere near 68. And then by Friday, we're looking for a high temperature of about 72 degrees. I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre. Your next WAVE weather in 30 minutes.
Some gold favorites, the most music. WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome, everyone, to the Open Mic Show. If you're listening, and that's the right word, listening, at Haverhill Community Television, Channel 22, there is nothing wrong with your set. No, this isn't an episode of The Outer Limits where we control your picture, because if we could, you'd have one. Unfortunately, a computer problem at Haverhill Community Television is keeping them from sending you the picture. But the Open Mic Show is live, and if you really want to see me, and I know so many of you do, you can go to WHAV.tv on your computer or smartphone. Otherwise, this is a radio station, WHAV, and listening is kind of traditional for a radio station. So let me give you all of the options for listening to the Open Mic Show for the next 2 hours. You can listen at www.whav.net. The stream will automatically begin playing if you're on a computer. If you're on a smartphone, you have to scroll down to the player and press the play button. But you can also listen on Haverhill Community Television, Channel 22. You can watch at whav.tv. And again, every week we say this, but WHAV is far more than just the Open Mic Show. You can listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to local news, music from 1954 to 79, specialty programs, talk programs, and more. Again, WHAV.net, AM radio 1640, and cable television, usually the background sound, and over Channel 8, Haverhill Channel 22, Methuen Channels 8 and 22 on Comcast, Channel 32 on Verizon Fios, Plasto Channels 17 and 23, Sandown Channel 17. Methuen's Channel 32 on Fios is heard statewide. If you have a friend in a Fios community, they can certainly tune in as well. We want to hear your thoughts tonight. We have kind of a fun theme, a little bit of a play on a fantastic investigation by WHAV News over recent months that is appeared on WHAV's website and on air Friday, and it's still on the website, moved down in priority. But we're tongue-in-cheek calling it Jim Jujuga's Pottersville, kind of a play on words from the movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy wishes he was never born. He goes back to Bedford Falls and he finds it has become Pottersville. Well, so our play on words, Jim Jujuga's Pottersville. If you missed the story last week, WHAV reported exclusively, and credit goes to the news department here, that Jim Jajuga was paid $66,500 by a company called Healthy Farms. They paid him to lobby local officials into approving, or at least not opposing, a medical marijuana facility on Hale Street. Now, those elected officials and appointed officials dispute that they even knew that they were being asked when having casual conversations with Jim Jajuga. People like Bill Pillsbury, Economic Development Director for the City of Haverhill, people like Haverhill City Councilor Bob Scatamaccia, who was asked to sign a letter at the last minute that according to the news story, the mayor retyped on City Council letterhead. So, big money in politics usually means some problems. So most of those officials are saying they did not realize that the letter from Councilor Scatamaccia, then council president, would become such a pivotal piece in the approval of Healthy Farms to receive a provisional license. And yes, they have received a provisional license. And people are wondering. Earlier this year, WHAV News found that Jim Jajuga did not register as a lobbyist for Healthy Farms, at least according to the website for lobbyists maintained by Secretary of the Commonwealth William Francis Galvin. Sometime later, mysteriously, it appeared. The news department was told by Secretary Galvin's office they cannot possibly explain why it wasn't there before, and it is there now. They also couldn't explain whether or not Jajuga was fined, as is required if filing late. And the fine goes up. It starts at $50 a day, and then after so many days goes up to $100 a day. This helps us look at a wider issue of money in politics. The League of Women Voters did a great program last year at Northern Essex Community College decrying money in politics because it certainly can contaminate things. So I want your calls and comments tonight on Pottersville, Jim Jajuga's Pottersville. We'll go through some of the details as reported by WHAV News. Take your comments. Doesn't matter where you fall on the spectrum. My personal view is the voters approved medical marijuana, so that's not the issue. The issue is big money, big dirty money, politics, pushing one company over another coming to the city of Haverhill. And then Hale Street, some people say it's ideal. It's an awful place downtown next to the railroad. Other people say it's a terrible place. The road is too narrow, and the traffic that it will create will be a disaster. So what do you think? Call the Open Mic Show, 978-374-1900, 978-374-1900. You can also comment at WHAV.tv. Go below the TV screen where my picture is, and there's a place that asks, what do you think? And I'll monitor your comments as well. You can also email me if all else fails. Email me at tcoco, Tcoco, at WHAV.net. Now, of course, on the lighter side of things, if you didn't think that was light, we are taking October birthdays and wedding anniversaries. So if you know someone who's having a birthday or an anniversary in October, we have, at least another week of this, and we'll award the cake from LBD's Second Generation Italian Bakery, 140 South Main Street in Haverhill. You can wish yourself a happy birthday, or you can pretend to be someone and wish yourself a happy birthday if you're shy. All you have to do, though, is call. We won't take messages. We won't take emails on prizes. You have to call, so don't be shy. And if you have a neighbor, a relative, someone who will share cake, it's in your best interest to wish them a happy birthday or a couple a happy anniversary. And your name or the recipient's name will be placed into the hat for drawing, and Nate will correct me if I'm wrong. Next week is the drawing. Is that right? Last Monday in September. So let's hear those birthdays and anniversary wishes. Again, the prize from Kimball Tavern Antiques, corner of Salem and South Main Streets in Bradford. What is the name of the oldest bowling league in Haverhill? Now, we're trying to get this one answered. We had to abandon some other trivia questions, but if you can answer the question, what is the name of the oldest bowling league in Haverhill, you will receive, the first person who answers anyway, a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques. It's a great place, $10, same as cash. If the item is 10 or less, you get a freebie. Otherwise, $10 off. We have a couple of clues. The name suggests something to do with cooking, or at least part of the name, so there's a clue. And if maybe to expand on that, another clue is that name also refers to something we might consider warm. So name the oldest bowling league in Haverhill. Take your chances. You could win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques. All right, Whittier Birthplace open for maybe a month more or so. So if you want to see Whittier Birthplace, 305 Whittier Road in Haverhill, ask now for your free pass. First person to request a free pass will receive it. Very simple, very simple. Whittier Birthplace is open Wednesday and Friday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Sunday, 1 to 4 p.m., and it will be closing at the end of October for the season, although some great things are coming up. Understand Whittier's Snowbound Weekend will be making a return. This pass cannot be used for that, just for a tour of the birthplace and hear the wonderful words of curator Gus Rouge. All right, what do you think of Jim Jajuga's Pottersville? Now, the former senator was born in Haverhill, so certainly a native, if you will. Most associated these days with Methuen, where he has become a Methuen city councilor. He was a senator for quite some time, representing the 1st Essex District, and was public safety director under I think she was technically acting Governor Jane Swift. I don't think the Constitution actually of the Commonwealth conveys the title governor in that case. So he was public safety director then, but well known as a lobbyist, and that's what he was doing for Healthy Farms. David asked the question on the bulletin board. So Jajuga is blowing smoke. Hey, we can have some fun with this, guys, if you want to try some of those. But again, call the open mic show 978-374-1900, and we'll see what we can do about putting you on the air. Later tonight, I think she has snuck into the building, and she may be within my voice range. We may introduce you on air later on. We'll listen to. She's an intern for the station, and she has a friend with her. But we'd like you to meet Martha Melendez, WHAV News intern. So that'll be in a little bit. Martha goes to Northern Essex Community College. We won't tell you too much right now, but we'll try to coax Martha on the air after 7 o'clock. All right. And then what else is on your mind? Open lines otherwise, 978-374-1900. You are on the Open Mic Show.
Hello, Tim.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm okay, I guess.
Do you live in Pottersville?
Pottersville, I think of, what's that Jimmy Stewart movie there?
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, right. Pottersville.
We're just having a little play on words with Jim DeDuga representing Healthy Farms being paid $66,500 for a month's work.
That's pretty good money, huh?
Yeah, talking to elected officials who didn't realize he was lobbying. So, what do you think? What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, nothing. I just thought I'd get the birthday thing out of the way. I feel awful funny calling in for myself.
Are you wishing yourself a happy birthday? Mm-hmm. Don't worry, we will wish it for you. Happy birthday, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you are. So what day is your birthday?
14th.
The 14th. Well, you know, I can't think of anyone more deserving of a cake from LBD's second-generation Italian bakery.
Well, I figure I'm increasing my chances because I already called one in for somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this way, if she wins, she'll share it with me, and if I win, I'll share it with her.
All right. Well, that's the way to do it, friends. You know, and then all else fails if you have no friends. You know, maybe like Nate. All you have to do is just invite your neighbors. Just wish them happy birthdays, and then make sure that you're present when they get the cake.
That's right. Yeah.
Anything else in your mind, Brian?
No, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I've been giving away some durable medical equipment, and it's going pretty quickly because I thought it was going to be a major chore to do it. And I signed up for that Facebook group called Merrimack Valley Yard Sale.
Oh.
And, you know, within minutes, people were expressing interest in some of the things. Of course, the fact that I'm giving them away for free makes a big difference, I know. But,
I would think so. So actually, let's tell listeners about this. This is a Facebook group called Merrimack Valley Yard Sale.
Something like that, yeah.
And you can put items out there and buy items there. Mm-hmm. You're actually giving items away.
Right.
Anything you want to tell listeners about?
No, everything is pretty much spoken for already.
Oh, well, so you...
Within minutes.
Within minutes. All right.
Now, this morning, a gentleman from Dracut came and carted away the Hoyer lift and the wheelchair, one of the wheelchairs.
Oh, okay. These were your wife's?
Yep.
All right. Well, it's nice that you're giving them away to a family that may very well be in need.
And they may not qualify for... for the benefits needed to get these things because they're pretty expensive. So.
Well, that's right. That's another factor. Some people are in that area of income where they're too much money to get assistance and too little to get by.
Maybe they should swing some political marijuana or something.
That's right. Unless you're a lobbyist, like former Senator Jim DeDuga, and you get $66,500. Of course, we don't know if he paid any fines for late filing. Secretary of the Commonwealth, William Galvin, is, you might say, stonewalling us.
Yeah, well, his staff is. I don't even know if... Secretary Galvin even knows about it. Well, surely he does by now.
I would think so. With City Council is going to take this up again October 1st. They've invited the State Department of Public Health, so we'll see what happens then. But meanwhile, we'll have some fun.
Well, did you try to reach Galvin yourself?
Actually, we've tried. I've tried.
You have tried.
I tried today, but we've had our news people also trying.
Right.
The press person picked up the phone initially, and then when he heard the question, somehow hasn't managed to get back to us and has been busy ever since.
I should think you'd be prepared for the call, though.
Yeah, well, I think he's... I'm going to have fun with this stonewalling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian, and happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Take care. Bye. All right. We're going to go to a very brief break this hour. You're going to hear about this day in Massachusetts history. We'll be right back.
This is Phil Christie. Listen to The Wave with fewer interruptions, no pop-ups, and a choice of players by tuning directly from www.whav.net.
Catch the wave.
The most trusted man in America, news anchor Walter Cronkite, once said, "It is absolutely essential in a democracy to have competition in the media, a lot of competition." That sentiment is one of the driving forces behind WHAV's expanded local news effort. This is News Director Dana Esmail inviting you to listen to my hourly weekday newscasts right here on WHAV. You'll also find the area's most comprehensive local news reporting at WHAV.net on your computer or smartphone. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source, and it's always free.
And that's the way it is.
Expect more at Northern Essex. With campuses in Haverhill and Lawrence, Northern Essex Community College is the only state college located in the lower Merrimack Valley region of Massachusetts. Northern Essex offers over 70 associate degree and certificate programs in the areas of health, business, computers and technology, criminal justice, liberal arts, and more. NECC also provides hundreds of non-credit courses designed for career growth and personal enrichment. For more information, visit necc.mass.edu.
Today is September 22nd. On this day in 1940, a bronze statue of Paul Revere was unveiled in the shadow of the Old North Church. In the crowd of 8,000 stood the sculptor, 79-year-old Cyrus Dallin. He had waited 55 years since a committee had first selected his design to see his statue erected. Not surprisingly, the statue showed Revere astride a horse, as he was during his legendary ride. But Revere's accomplishments did not end with independence. After the Revolution, he opened an iron foundry and in 1801 established the first copper rolling mill in North America. The North End house Revere owned for 30 years has been restored. Open to the public since 1908, it is the oldest building in downtown Boston. For more about this and other Mass Moments, go online to massmoments.org. Brought to you by the Massachusetts Foundation for the Humanities.
Catch the wave. WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin B. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Show, a 50-year staple of democracy in the Merrimack Valley. I'm Tim Coco, your host. Nathan E. Webster III is in master control. So is WHAV intern from Northern Essex Community College, Martha Melendez, who will join us after the news at 7 o'clock so we can learn a little more about Martha's interests and what she hopes to accomplish at WHAV. I will say this, if I haven't said it already to Martha, that some great people have started out as students at Northern Essex, including Tom Bergeron, Dancing with the Stars. And, look what happened to Nate. So there you go. He went to NASCAR this weekend. We're going to get a report from Nate as well on what happened at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I know he's got some audio clips. I'm not quite sure I fully know what he wants to talk about, if he even wanted to talk at all. Did you bring your photos? All right, because otherwise I can move them to that machine. Those of you trying to watch at Haverhill Community Television, we understand that there is no picture because of a computer problem at Haverhill Community Television. They're working on having a machine replaced. Had we known, we might have tried to find something that they could use. But in any event, that seems to be the source of the problem. Last week we were told it was an internet connection. I think we also heard it was a hard drive And maybe that's what it is now. All right. So, but you can still watch if you'd like at WHAV.tv on your computer or smartphone, or since this is a radio station after all, enjoy listening as we paint the picture of Jim Jajuga's Pottersville with some stonewalling by Secretary of the Commonwealth Bill Galvin. What do you folks think? The City Council is looking at, Haverhill City Council that is looking at some locations where to zone a medical marijuana facility. It's not something the City Council wanted to do. This is the voters approved them, and it's up to each city and town in the Commonwealth, all 351, to identify zoning issues for where these plants, if you pardon the term, will be located. City Council originally looked at Hale Street. That's where the provisional license for Healthy Farms is going. The owner of the building on Hale Street, I believe, could be wrong. If someone wants to correct me, we'll certainly welcome all calls. Ron O'Clair, who was a member of the Greater Haverhill Foundation, has a building for sale there, and I think that's the provisional location. City Council is looking at other places where it might go, such as an industrial park or the old Target building, the old Home Depot, I guess. Home Depot building. Target's still there, near Regan Ford. So it seems up in the air. If you have an idea for where one of these should go or where they shouldn't go, feel free to call the Open Mic Show, 978-374-1900. If you think this is too hot an issue, you can email me, tcoco, TCOCO, at WHAV.net with your confidential thoughts, or let me know if they're confidential, and we'll work around that. You can also use the message board below the TV screen at WHAV.tv to relay a message. I actually am monitoring Facebook, if that helps. If you go to WHAV's page on Facebook, it seems like some people are getting into the spirit with some likes of our graphic. If you didn't see it, because you're listening, the graphic is from the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And if you recall, Jimmy Stewart, after he tries to jump off the bridge to save his guardian angel Clarence, finds that he is sober enough to walk back toward what he thought would be Bedford Falls, and finds that it's named Pottersville. So we thought this graphic was appropriate. Jim Jajuga's Pottersville. All right, a few people have comments. Hey, if you disagree with what we're saying or doing or having fun, let's hear that too. Call me, 978-374-1900. Now, tomorrow night before Haverhill City Council, City Councilor Bill Masick is proposing an alternative to the mayor's trash plan. Haverhill Mayor James J. Fiorentini is trying to save the city some money, and he has come up with a plan using the existing trash hauler to automate the collections so that people would put out a 64-gallon, I think that's the right quantity, 64-gallon toter, they're called. Toter, not toker. Oh, geez, we're gonna go a long way with this one. All right, so, but put a toter out. A number of concerns. Our environmental consultant, Jerry, who calls the program frequently from Methuen, has done some research. He finds that they're too large for senior citizens to bring down, flights of stairs, especially when they're full. So City Councilor Masick has proposed an alternative of his own, which would ask residents to voluntarily reduce the number of bags, regular trash bags, no limit on recycling, regular trash bags from 3 bags to 2, for example, and allow the use of the mini toters, which are easier to handle and can be done through the back of the truck rather than a side load. That means the trash hauler doesn't have to buy a new truck, still has some economies of scale, and that that could be one too, has some economies of scale, and they could reduce the amount of waste being disposed of if people do more recycling and less trash throwing. So what do you think of the trash talk in City Hall? Give us a call, 978-374-1900. Listen, don't leave me hanging here. I'm working the puns. I'm not very good at that, I guess. So this is the Open Mic Show. The lines are open to you and your comments, 978-374-1900. 1900. We're going to go to news in just a second, but keep in mind the prizes that are here. Wish someone a happy birthday or happy anniversary, and the recipient is eligible to receive a free, that's right, free 7-inch cake, chocolate or vanilla, from our great friends at LBD Second Generation Italian Bakery, 140 South Main Street on the Bradford side of the river. And if you answer this trivia question, name the oldest bowling league in Haverhill, you could win a $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques on the corner of Salem and South Main Streets. You know, the prizes seem to be coming from the Bradford side of the border, so Nate's coming up with a few puns of his own. We're going to let him use those. Maybe you have some friends who are in business on the Haverhill side, or maybe in Methuen, other places, so the Bradford doesn't have to take care of all the gifts. Ask them to call, 978-374-1900. Nate will take their information in confidence. And, look at the publicity the sponsors of this program receive when they donate a gift. And last but not least, if you would like to take a free tour of the John Greenleaf Whittier birthplace. It's a house museum, a 326-year-old house. Be the first to ask, and you'll receive a free pass. Birthplace closes in about a month for the season, so this may be your last opportunity, and fall is a great time to go. All right, we're going to go to national news from FSN, local news with our own news director, Dana Esmel. We're going to hear Dana. Now, this is a twist on what usually happens. Nate Webster was actually tweeting live. If you know what Twitter is, he was tweeting live from New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend, and he also did some interviews. You'll hear that on the newscast as well, and then local weather. We'll be back with more of the Open Mic Show. It'll really go by fast, so stay tuned.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round. Open mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
It's 7:03.
WHAV Merrimack Valley. WHAV is a not-for-profit service of Public Media of New England, Incorporated. It's heard on 1640 AM, the web, at whav.net, and participating cable television stations.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nina Maria Potts with the latest world news. The United Nations has called for urgent help for Turkey, which is dealing with a refugee crisis along its border with Syria. The UN's Human Rights Agency says that some 130,000 Syrian refugees have crossed the border in recent days. Syrian Kurds are fleeing in their tens of thousands from Islamic State militants who've grabbed control of large parts of Iraq and Syria in recent months. Turkey has now closed the majority of its border with Syria. Laura Wells is a freelance journalist in Istanbul.
Turkey keeps on opening and closing the border. They say it's because of security reasons. But, of course, this is a very large number of refugees to come in at one time in a very remote area of Turkey, and they certainly want to prevent a humanitarian crisis.
Western militaries are reportedly engaged in an urgent effort to train Kurdish fighters to combat Islamic State militants. As Malcolm Brown reports, the US and allied nations are trying to address shortcomings in forces which are central to the anti-ISIS strategy.
American, British and French advisors are reportedly on the ground in northern Iraq, working to boost the capabilities of Kurdish forces. The Wall Street Journal reports that the training includes the use of sophisticated weapons, such as advanced anti-tank missiles. The paper says the Western trainers are also working to transform the Peshmerga from a predominantly guerrilla fighting force to a more organized force, capable of urban combat and holding ground. Malcolm Brown, Washington.
Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko is continuing to defend a peace plan agreed Saturday despite more reported deaths of government troops. The ceasefire talks in the Belarusian capital Minsk resulted in both sides consenting to create a buffer zone between the opposing forces, but Kiev says it won't be implemented until the violations stop. Jack Parrock reports from Moscow.
A Ukrainian government military official says they've had 2 men killed since Saturday and estimated the pro-Russian rebels had lost 40. An original ceasefire agreement from September the 5th was largely violated by fighting on both sides. The new one is to prevent military aircraft flying over the battle sites and for both sides to withdraw weapons over 100mm caliber back 15 kilometres. Separatists are currently in control of the disputed city of Donetsk, while government forces are held up at the city's airport. Russia continues to deny any involvement in the conflict, which has killed over 3,000 people.
The US Secret Service is launching a full review of Friday night's security breach at the White House. That's according to presidential spokesperson Josh Earnest. He said President Obama was obviously concerned that an Iraq war veteran had simply jumped over the fence, run across the White House lawn and entered the building before he was caught. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Here's what's happening in local news. The Massachusetts State Police are investigating a hit-and-run crash that killed a pedestrian at 3:40 a.m. Monday on Route 495 northbound in North Andover. A state police spokesperson said the deceased victim is a woman who was in the road. The woman's identity is not being released at this time. Police are seeking a later model black or dark-colored pickup with Massachusetts plates and running boards. The truck may have front-end damage. State police say the truck continued to travel northbound on 495 after hitting the woman. Facts and circumstances of the crash, including why the victim was on foot in the roadway, remain under investigation. Anyone with information about the truck or the crash is urged to call the Massachusetts State Police Andover Barracks at 978-475-3800. A Haverhill man is due to be arraigned on various charges, including burglary-related counts, in Haverhill District Court after his arrest early Saturday on South Main Street. Haverhill police report 29-year-old Jeremy A. Trungo of Haverhill was charged with felony breaking and entering in the nighttime with intent, malicious damage, resisting arrest, and possession of burglarious tools. He was also taken into custody on an outstanding warrant for a charge of operating a motor vehicle after license suspension. An investigation is ongoing. The chairman of Merrimack College's Civil Engineering Department was arrested Friday for possession of child pornography. Gary S. Spring, 61, of Danvers, was charged in a criminal complaint with possession of child pornography. Spring was also the administrator of the college's residential summer camp for middle and high school-aged children. According to the criminal complaint, in June 2014, Merrimack College in North Andover uncovered suspicious activity associated with one of the college's loaner computers through virus threat detection alerts. An internal investigation determined that the computer had been loaned out to Spring and that Spring had been logged on during the time the alerts were triggered. Further investigation determined that the computer was used to access child pornography. Search warrants were executed at Spring's office at Merrimack College and his residence in Danvers. Members of the public who have questions, concerns, or information regarding the case should call 617-748-3274. In sports, Joey Logano wins Sunday at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. WHAV's Nate Webster reports from Pit Road, where he was on hand for another competition.
And I'm sitting here with the tire change winner, Mike Marcoux. And where are you from, Mike?
Foxborough, Mass.
Foxborough. How long did you train for this event?
That's my first time ever doing it.
I understand you won a fabulous prize for completing.
Yes, I finished first and I got a new cell phone.
Awesome. How do you feel right now? I know you're shaking a little bit.
I'm shaking, a lot of pressure, but I feel great.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source, and it's always free. In the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, this is Dana Esmail.
Wave weather.
I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre with Wave Weather. We're looking at clear skies headed through the nighttime hours, the temperature dropping to 43. Sunshine on Tuesday, a high of 69. It's going to be clear and cool Tuesday nights with a low down to 45. And then we get sunshine for Wednesday with a high of 63. And that sunshine will continue right into Thursday and Friday. Now, Thursday's high will be somewhere near 68. And then by Friday, we're looking for a high temperature of about 72 degrees. I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre. Your next Wave Weather in 30 minutes.
Try listening to WHAV in your car or anywhere on your mobile phone. For fast access, visit WHAV.net.
Catch the wave. WHAV. Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
And welcome back to the Open Mic Show, a 50-year staple of democracy in the Merrimack Valley. This hour of the Open Mic Show is being brought to you by the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council. Smart companies choose the Merrimack Valley. Okay, sitting to my left is a student from Northern Essex Community College, Martha Melendez. Martha is interning at WHAV, and if you are a listener, you probably hear her almost every hour. She is hosting the Community Spotlight program. Welcome to the Open Mic Show, Martha.
Hello.
Martha was asked to observe. I don't think she quite knew that she was going to be here on the air.
No.
But doesn't she look good on television? Are you looking on your? There you are. Martha brought a friend just for some confidence, maybe. So, Martha, how long have you attended Northern Essex Community College?
Hold on.
Let her count.
Yeah.
You get sandals on? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my toes messed up. Like 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years at Northern Essex Community College. You know, a little-known fact about Tim Coco is that I was on the 10-year plan at Northern Essex. You know, I took some courses here and there, and then did some work, and worked at WHAV, worked at the Haverhill Gazette, took some more courses, finally graduated, and then I got serious about my bachelor's degree, and I got that. Northern Essex, that's perfect for what we would call non-traditional students. Rather than those students who go away and get it done all at once, some people have to work. So you're a worker, is that right? I can tell she's a worker because she has, I think she works every night of the week, does some, we won't get into too many details, it's up to you, but a very, very hard worker and still manages to put in about 14 hours a week at WHAV. What have you learned so far at WHAV that you feel comfortable sharing?
I learned how to talk better. I still need to practice it, but...
How about you say WHAV?
WHAV.
There you are. Very good. You know, most people are kind of like from Texas, and they say WHAV. And most people don't realize they do it, but she's mastered it. And so what else have you learned?
How to edit, how to record, how to write AP style. I mean, I knew that, but how to do it better.
Well, because it's more demanding when it's actually something you're going to put on the air.
Yeah.
And how many community spotlights have you read so far? Like a dozen?
I think more.
More than
Yeah,
that.
I think
More
more
than
than
that.
that.
More than that. Now, this is the time of year where everyone is having a fundraiser or a festival or something. So all those items come in. Martha writes them, records them. She's learned how to edit with digital recordings. You know what? I don't know. We never had a chance to talk about this, but you know how editing was done before digital?
They cut the film and then they taped it together.
Yeah, with the tape, and you used a razor blade and a little metal pedestal, which probably had a name. Yeah, Nate learned how to do that at Columbia School of Broadcasting. Is that what it's called? So yeah, that's the old way. We actually have a reel-to-reel recorder here for when we have special, when people bring in tapes that belong on the old WHAV. Our good friends Bob Cameron donated his reel-to-reel, and but we don't drag it out that often. But they're still needed for old recordings, and of course WHAV goes back to 1947. So those behind you, I don't know if we ever discussed those. I used to have to cut them to a disc, and of course they couldn't be edited. So if they did it wrong, they had to do it over. So, have you what have you like about digital editing? I'll give you a clue. You don't have to do it over. You can just fix the part that needs attention.
Yeah. I don't really edit much, so.
Tell us about your classes. What kind of classes are you taking?
American literature too. No, I hate literature, but.
You hate literature?
Yeah.
You must have a favorite author in American literature.
No.
No? No favorite authors?
None that I could think of.
I bet they don't teach about John Greenleaf Whittier anymore, do they?
Mm-mm.
He was a famous poet.
A lot of Twain. I mean, yeah.
Oh, Mark Twain?
Twain and stuff like that.
Oh, any other names that might get our listeners going?
That I read that I find interesting?
Yes.
Edgar Allan Poe was interesting.
Oh, like
Yeah.
the Cask of Cask of Amontillado? Is that what it's called?
I think so. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Edgar Allan Poe. David Goudswood, who is an open mic show historian, is an author, and he is a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, and I somehow suspect H.P. Lovecraft isn't taught in American literature. Is he?
No.
David Goudswood, what do you think of that? Let us know. Tell you what, folks, you're going to actually hear Martha in action. The Community Spotlight is coming up right now, and it's Martha announcing the event. Let's go to that right now. We'll be back with more of the Open Mic Show in just 1 minute.
Open mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
Those Boston stations don't always understand weather in the Merrimack Valley. Stay informed with WAV weather every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day on Soft Gold, WHAV.
Community Spotlight is brought to you by Haverhill Bank. Haverhill Bank is a generous supporter of the area's civic and cultural programs.
That's all it takes, it's just one bank. Haverhill Bank. Community Spotlight.
Team Haverhill's Celebration Artist Show takes place Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. until September 27th at the Buttonwoods Museum, 240 Water Street, Haverhill. Artists include Mark Mannheimer, David Jones, Elizabeth Persing, and others. The show features the work of award-winning regional artists, as well as emerging talent, and includes a display of the original design maquettes for this year's shoe sculptures. For more information, visit haverhillhistory.org. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at whav.net or email news@whav.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Martha Melendez.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
And welcome back to the Open Mic Show, a 50-year staple of democracy in the Merrimack Valley. This hour of the Open Mic Show is being brought to you by the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council. Smart companies choose the Merrimack Valley. And if you were listening closely, and we hope you were, you just heard Martha Melendez do Community Spotlight. Martha joins us again now in the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, a room that she's quite familiar with since she's in here recording. Martha, tell us a little more about you. Where are you from?
From Lawrence.
And you're from Lawrence. You've gone to Northern Essex for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing literature this semester. What is your goal?
To finish.
You know, that's an honest answer. You know, most students, their parents would probably be coaching them. No, you want to be whatever. No, your goal is to finish. All right. But do you have any career goals, anything in mind that you'd like to do? Is it broadcasting? Is it something, writing?
I'm not, I don't know. Like, I like to write a book, but I don't know if that's a career goal. That's more...
If you write enough of them, it's a career goal.
Well, if they sell. I don't know. Honestly, I'm confused. I'm kind of figuring it out.
All right. So what are the options? You have some thoughts about what you might rather be doing?
I wouldn't mind screenwriting.
Screenwriting. Okay,
yeah.
That's ambitious, but very possible.
Interior design.
Interior design. That's a step away from this field.
I wanted to be an architect, but there's too much math. So.
I want to be an architect, but there's too much math. Well, you know, I don't know what it's like now, but when, because it's going to start sounding like an old-timer here, you know, had to walk to school 10 miles in the snow uphill both ways. But, you know, back when I was in school, I hated math because you had to do everything the long way and show your work. And I remember that. Show your work, the teachers would always say. Now you can use your computer and calculators and so on. Is that right?
Yeah, but I
still
no. I still don't like it, no.
All right, so interior design. Oh, do we have a call? Do they want to talk to Martha too? Here, Martha, here's some headphones for you. All right. You are on the Open Mic Show.
I love the look of blind panic when she says, wait, there's someone talking to me?
Yes. She did not know she was going to be on the air. It's part of our requirement.
It's more fun that way.
That's right. If she'd known, she might not have ever come back. This is
I have
David
a bone
Gosworth.
to pick with you, Mr. Coco.
What's that?
You're talking about people doing WHAV.
Yeah.
But you're dropping the R from Martha's name.
Martha. Am I being a New Englander?
You are being a New Englander.
New Englander. All right. Martha, where did you park your car?
Right in the front.
And we know it's not in Harvard Yard because Harvard doesn't allow parking.
Okay. Oh, I see. David Gosworth, also Open Mic Show critic.
Ooh.
What do you think of my tie
They're
tonight?
just like picking on you. There's a difference.
Oh, that's right. It's not the station. It's me. All right. Hey, Martha is looking at some writing, possibly a book. Tell her how many books you've written. I know.
Oh, God.
I put you on the spot
current,
now.
Ones with just my name on the cover, I believe it's 11.
With just your name on the cover, and then there are some where your name's not on the cover?
Well, short stories and columns and articles written inside of other pieces. So it depends on how you count published author in a case like that. If you're looking at a book that has my name on the cover, we'll go with 11.
Let me ask you this. Martha's taking American literature, and it just occurred to me only on the air. One of your favorite authors is H.P. Lovecraft. Does Lovecraft appear in those volumes anywhere?
He's gotten a lot of late recognition in the last few years. I think the collection of books that being put out by Library of Congress now includes a Lovecraft volume. Writers of America, I think, is the series. But he's a Rhode Island boy, first and foremost. Poe, at least, was born in Boston.
Okay. Oh, I don't know. I don't know that the course is specific to the location, though, right? So it's an author's...
Well, but bottom line is Poe hated Boston, and Boston wasn't that crazy about him.
I see.
In fact, most of his biographies that he had something to do with during his lifetime, he listed his birthplace as Virginia.
I see.
But
well, Martha
they're putting the
remembered
new
Poe.
statue up at Edgar Allan Poe Square at the end of October.
Say that again?
That'll be the first time he's had one.
Say that again?
The new statue
Two?
of Edgar Allan Poe going up in Boston.
Oh, do you know that?
No.
You could get some extra points maybe in school for bringing that up.
Probably not.
It's an online class.
It's an online course. See what I mean?
That's all right.
Everything
I can
has
see the picture
changed.
of the statue online too, so it works out for everyone.
Oh, well, then you can take a screen capture and send that along, or do a save to
Yeah, there you go.
desktop.
But
My
he
goodness.
was born on what was called Carver Street. Actually, at the time he was born there, it was called Haskins Street, but that's irrelevant. It's now Charles Street South.
Okay, Charles Street South.
Charles Street. Charles.
Charles.
I'll speak like I'm a local. Charles Street.
Ah, what do you know about that? So an online course. I've taken one online course, but I guess it's much more common now. I think I
taught a couple. Does that count?
Oh, see, he's taught a couple. All right. Now, when I took an online course, I'm not saying computers were recently invented, but when I took an online course, it was different because you used a modem to dial into the class and so on. I'm not quite sure. Boston didn't like Poe folk. Am I missing the emphasis? Nate wrote this. Nate's another writer.
He's showing his NASCAR route. Poe Folk was the name of the band, a band that traveled with Whispering Bill Anderson.
Is that what this is, Nate?
Not even close, but I'll take it.
He's not even close, but he'll take it. Nate, get on the microphone and tell us what this is all about. And I was afraid if I said it, it almost looks like another word, doesn't it?
Oh, God.
I'm not sure I want to show that because people will look at your handwriting and think you were writing expletives.
Yeah, you don't want to show that word because it does not look like
He's
folk.
radio, not writing.
That's right, I'm radio, exactly. Boston didn't like Poe folk, it was just a joke, that's
Poe
all.
Left Boston, he actually...
Oh, like poor folk?
Oh.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Poe folk, that's
everybody
why.
together.
Oh.
Oh, no, I'm not getting involved in that one.
Oh, geez.
But I just did double check. Whispering Bill Anderson in the Poe Folk Band.
Wow,
In fact, he had a restaurant chain called Poe Folk.
See, David Gosson has all this information. See, nothing's original. David knows this.
Oh, it's not so much that it's original as much as it's more fun to be a buzzkill.
Oh, okay. That's so much for that. Hey, David, do you have any pointers for a would-be author or interior decorator? And actually, I think you've done both yourself, haven't you?
Yes, and actually I just reviewed a book on online for a publisher on the history of wallpaper.
The history of wallpaper. Now, this is...
And it's almost as exciting as it sounds.
I was trying to keep a straight face.
Yeah. It's
well,
an
I suppose
occupational
it
risk.
could be interesting, history of wallpaper.
Well, in a nutshell, wallpaper was originally designed to look like the paintings on the walls of the rich folk. Rich folk could afford to have the wall plastered and then have an artist come in. You've been to Rocks Village. You've seen the paintings on the walls of the
All
building.
right, so if you were a Poe folk, you could.
You'd have wallpaper, not murals.
Wallpaper and not murals. What do you think of all this? Martha's just here bewildered, saying, what am I doing here? What am I doing
we do
here?
that a lot, don't we?
It's interesting.
All right, the history of wallpaper. Actually...
It's almost as interesting as watching paint dry.
Yeah, right. Okay. Nate's trying out here. Okay. But anyway...
Keep your day job, Nate.
I plan to.
Actually, I had an interior decorator some years ago for a property I had, and they picked out this, because it was a Victorian era building, and they picked out a wallpaper that actually had to be trimmed on both sides. One of those wallpapers printed in the middle. So I imagine those who have studied the history of wallpaper know what that's all about.
Yeah, I mean, originally it wouldn't have been a problem. We're talking, 16th century, because they were trying to make it look like real wood initially, and then just a mural, so it would be a continuous piece of paper going horizontally, so you wouldn't have to match up the sides.
Okay, all right. But in any event, okay, David, what else is on your mind?
That's the highlights. I mean, anytime I have a chance to make fun of your accent, that's pretty much the highlight of the day for me right there.
I thought I had gotten rid of that accent. All right, so it sneaks
seems
back.
to be one of the few trigger words you have left, so...
Martha?
Yeah.
What do you know?
And you just did it right there again.
It's funny. How do you say the word that's spelled H-U-G-E?
H-U-G-E. You mean huge?
Yeah, you see, I have been criticized because it seems that most people in New England, or at least in Massachusetts, they say it as though it had no H in it.
I hate when people do that. I really do.
Huge.
I have to interject with that because
I don't know if you can say it. I mean, the E at the end automatically causes the H sound to start coming.
Yeah, but what they say is huge.
I'm sure there's a highly technical term for that in speech pathology, but I don't know it.
What they say is huge.
Nate,
it was very huge.
Nate has a comment on this.
Yeah, it was very...
You can't stand that?
It was very huge. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not U-G-E. It's H-U-G-E.
Okay,
the word is huge.
Pronounce it.
Huge.
Martha.
H-U-G-E.
Your turn.
Huge.
I have to admit, I have trouble with that one. I don't think I hear it. What about the word spelled H-U-M-A-N?
That's
human.
human.
If you're watching Star Trek, it's human.
Oh, geez.
But I think it might have something to do with the first name, though. H-U-G-H. Hugh. The H is there, but you're not actually saying it as much as you are in the word huge. There may be something there, or I may be wandering off down the path that's a completely different direction again.
I think you're going down the broken road.
I don't want to upset the syzygy of the paradigm. That's the important thing.
Oh boy!
What did he just call me?
And the same goes for your brother. All right, sorry.
You leave my brother out of this.
Actually, you usually bring him up.
I didn't bring him up. My mother brought him up.
Oh, that's right. But he's a co-author with you on some books. Is that right?
Yes.
Including your latest one, which is Horror Guide to Massachusetts?
Ooh, nice segue. Why, yes, that is the most recent one.
We try to plug people who help the station, and David is a great asset to the station.
Well, we're bringing out Horror Guide to Florida in about 5 months.
A Horror Guide to Florida.
Well,
the way you describe it, it's a horror for you most days.
Well, yeah, that's true too. I just filmed, as you know, a spot for Monumental Mysteries on the Travel Channel. Now, this isn't the Duncan McDougal spot. That's not being filmed until October.
Okay.
But I just filmed one for the other show, Monumental Mysteries, on the foundation of the Everglades. And the reason why the Everglades were founded was to protect the resources, specifically the birds, who were being wiped out because of Gilded Age fashion demanded you have feathers in your hat.
Oh, okay.
And it got so bad that you could walk down the street and these women would have these hats that had metal frames in them because they were so big they couldn't hold their shape. And they extended out beyond their shoulders. And your hair had to be piled on top of your head because you needed an 18-inch long hat pin to hold the whole thing together.
Martha, you're into
and they
fashion
would put
too, right?
feathers on it.
Wow.
The most popular feather was the ones in the Everglades, the egrets, the herons. And it went from there to actually putting the whole stuffed bird on it. You could actually walk down the street and there'd be a woman with a hummingbird stuffed and mounted on the side of her hat, or an owl head stuffed and mounted on the hat. And they were wiping out 50,000 birds a year.
Wow.
And when I say wiping them out, they were going in, killing them in the breeding ground, skinning them, leaving the carcass behind, but that also killed off the fledglings. So they were wiping out 2 generations of birds at a time.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
And a woman from Boston stopped it by going out and aggressively creating what's something you might have heard of called the Massachusetts Audubon Society.
See, David could do his own mass moments for us.
Yes, and actually I think she might be in one.
Okay.
But Harriet Hemingway is a Boston socialite, and what she did was she created an unfashionable atmosphere for the hats. Basically, the hats became out of vogue with the wealthy, and that killed the demand for them. At the same time as the Audubon Society, because women couldn't vote, had men members, they could pass laws and kill the supply.
Do you think
we went after it with supply and demand?
Do you think we can do the same thing with carbon emissions?
I'm not sure if the Boston Brahmins have enough pull anymore to make it unfashionable to drive your car.
No, I can't imagine Bill Weld hanging onto a cord on the subway.
You got a point there.
Governor Dukakis did it, but that tells you about the two sides of the aisle in politics, doesn't it?
More than I cared to know.
All right. So anyway, thank you very much, David. We have to take a break for weather, and Martha is anxious to get out of here, I'm sure. And now I'm going to be afraid of my R's for the rest of the night.
Then my job is done.
All right. Thank you very much,
I'll talk to you later,
David.
Tim.
And thanks for that tidbit of history.
Good night, Martha.
Good night.
All right. That was fun. Martha, did you learn anything from that exchange?
Yeah.
Not to come on the open mic show?
No. No, the bird fact was very interesting.
All right, very good.
And sad.
And sad, absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to take a break for weather. We hope to have you call. Talk about our topic of the evening, Jim Jajuga's Pottersville, right after the weather.
Open mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
It's 7:37.
Still not sure when your favorite features are broadcast? Check out the What's On page at www.whav.net for complete listings.
Catch the wave!
Here! Don't forget your free ticket to the biggest theater in the world. Your seat is reserved for Modern Theater of the Mind every Tuesday night. WHAV presents Radio Theater Project, a new anthology series of comedies, dramas, mysteries, and science fiction. Tune in every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. or the encore performance at 1 a.m. Remember, only local radio can bring you this feature opportunity, but only WHAV does.
Wave weather!
I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre with Wave Weather. We're looking at clear skies headed through the nighttime hours, the temperature dropping to 43. Sunshine on Tuesday, a high of 69. It's going to be clear and cool Tuesday nights with a low down to 45. And then we get sunshine for Wednesday with a high of 63. And that sunshine will continue right into Thursday and Friday. Now, Thursday's high will be somewhere near 68. And then by Friday, we're looking for a high temperature of about 72 degrees. I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre. Your next Wave Weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic!
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents The Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome back to The Open Mic Show. This hour of The Open Mic Show is being brought to you by the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council. Smart companies choose the Merrimack Valley. And let me stress, as I try to do every week, that you don't have to own a business to be interested in merrimackvalley.info, the website of MVEDC, because there is a great guide that comes out every Wednesday, usually Tuesday, really, called Merrimack Valley Happenings, edited by David Tibbetts, who is president of the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council. And some of you younger folks may not realize that David Tibbetts was a Secretary of Economic Affairs in the Weld administration cabinet in Boston, the governor, and actually even goes back before that. Was Secretary of Consumer Affairs under Governor Michael Dukakis, and I think before that, Secretary of Energy. So David is from the Merrimack Valley, came back to help the economy here, and one of the ways he recognized is that have people proud of their communities and participate in community events. So Merrimack Valley Happenings is a great guide online every week, and you can have it emailed to you if you request it online. A great guide to almost every event there is from Westford to Newburyport. Okay, one of our topics on the Open Mic Show tonight, but you're certainly welcome to call, talk about any other subject you would like as well. Call 978-374-1900. But that topic is what we're somewhat tongue-in-cheek calling Jim Jajuga's Pottersville, kind of a play on words from the movie It's a Wonderful Life, where Bedford Falls becomes Pottersville, named after the Baron Potter. But in this case, we're trying to make a definite connection to the big medical marijuana scandal that has come across this area. If you missed WHAV News Friday and over the weekend, let me tell you what the news department said. They said former state senator and Methuen City Councilor James P. Jajuga was paid $66,500 to lobby in support of Healthy Farms' application to locate a medical marijuana facility in Haverhill, a WHAV News investigation reveals. Between October 20th and November 21, 2013, Jajuga now says he, quote, was retained to garner local municipal support in the city of Haverhill for Healthy Farms, Inc., to operate a registered Councilor Tom DeZoglio. Jajuga lists his check to Sullivan as happening October 31st, Fiorentini November 1st, and DeZoglio November 7th, 2013. Jajuga also contributed $200, the maximum allowed by registered lobbyists, on November 1st to State Senator Sal DiDomenico of Everett. The Commonwealth requires lobbyists to list campaign contributions on disclosure forms to enable the public to more easily discern patterns. Haverhill City Councilor Robert H. Scatamaccia said an undated letter of support signed by him was obtained under false pretenses. Healthy Farms used that letter as, quote, evidence of local support. Scatamaccia said Fiorentini supplied the letter and retyped it onto Haverhill City Council letterhead on behalf of Jajuga. Scatamaccia said he's not sure if he signed the letter before or after the dates Giugiu made campaign contributions to others. Lobbying reports were due to Secretary of State William F. Galvin's office during the first 2 weeks of January. However, the Secretary of State's office cannot explain why Giugiu's Healthy Farms listing had not been posted by this spring when the company received a provisional license to open in Haverhill. Galvin's lobbying division also would not say whether Giugiu had been compelled to make the filing after complaints were sent or whether the former senator was fined or otherwise penalized. But fees for late disclosure statements of $50 per day up to the 20th day and an additional $100 per day for every day after the 20th until the statement is filed. Giugiu is also a past president of the Greater Haverhill Chamber of Commerce. He previously said he had served merely as a consultant for Healthy Farms. I think some people were actually afraid of this story. I'll admit, Giugiu is well known. He's relatively popular, but nevertheless, people have quietly called the station, don't want to list their names, but applauding the news department for the background work on this. But many people, matter of fact, contributions to WHAV went up considerably since Friday, and that's maybe a good segue. If you'd like to contribute to WHAV, WHAV is working to put a new FM station on the air at 98.1 FM. WHAV has been tentatively approved by the Federal Communications Commission, and it costs money to add the transmitter and the antenna and the antenna lines and all of that. Not to mention to pay for programs that expense occurs anyway. So why don't you consider becoming a WHAV member? If you're a student or senior citizen, it's only $10 a year. Certainly don't turn down more if you can afford it. $10 a year for students or senior citizens, $25 and up for everyone else. Consider becoming a WHAV member. You can sign up online at whav.net. But because we're here tonight, you can also call WHAV, talk to Nate Webster, and he can take your credit card information or at least give you information about where to send your check. So call 978-374-1900, and Nate will take your information or give you what you need to make your decision. All right, so nevertheless, back to our point that these people seem to silently cheer that investigation has revealed what appears to at least be dirty money. And, I think when lobbyists are involved, it's pretty close to dirty money. But you might be able to say that about other things. So what are your thoughts? Call me at 978-374-1900. We're going to take a brief break. We have a movie review this hour. We're going to speed through that and be back with the Open Mic Show in just a minute.
Open Mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
This is Phil Christie. When local news breaks, the WAVE is there. Only local radio can bring you local news, but only WHAV does.
Smart companies choose the Merrimack Valley. They're attracted by the region's technology and innovation, housing and education, workforce, arts, culture, and recreation, and convenient location and easy access. Learn more and look at profiles of all 24 cities and towns at the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council website at merrimackvalley.info.
Catch the wave!
This is Tom Hartman inviting you to tune to the Tom Hartman program on WHAV every weekday beginning at 3. I'll be here 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, taking your calls live. We'll tackle critical issues that impact working people at home, on the job, and throughout society. The Tom Hartman program is your media support group for We the People. Again, please join me weekdays beginning at 3 right here on WHAV. Remember, only local radio can bring you this progressive talk opportunity, but only WHAV does.
This is Take Two Movie Review. I'm Mike Friend. This week, Indiana Jones meets the Blair Witch Project, and the results aren't pretty. The action in As Above, So Below begins, for all the wrong reasons, in Iran, where student archaeologist Scarlett has gone to retrieve an artifact important in her research on alchemy. Once back in Paris with the object in hand, she seeks out an ex who can translate the Aramaic inscriptions on it. This is sort of where the problems begin. Aramaic was never used in Persia, and even if it had been, it likely wouldn't translate into perfectly rhyming iambic pentameter in modern English as it does here. The retrieved object directs them conveniently to the catacombs beneath the city they're standing in as we travel along via helmet light and GoPro, first through lots of bones, then through tunnels where things more weird than scary start happening, where you're treated to zombie-like creatures, Knights Templar memorabilia, and as downward progress continues, the characters start encountering ordinary objects from their past, like old pianos and landline phones, in an effort to add psychological thriller cred. None of this is developed very well, and the whole thing comes off like a walk through a haunted house with fewer jump tricks. As Above, So Below is directed by John Aaron Dowdle. It doesn't suffer from any gross lack of production values, though the found footage stick gets old fast. The actors, including Perdita Weeks and Ben Feldman of Mad Men fame, do their best with the material. The film's end is about as surprising as the rest of it is either scary or profound. You'll walk off from the theater into the night just like the characters, as perplexed about the $10 you just spent as they are about what just happened. This has been Take Two Movie Review. I'm Mike Friend. Catch up with us at TakeTwoMovieReview.com and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Take2_Review.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Show, a 50-year staple of democracy in the Merrimack Valley. Here's a comment on tonight's topic. It should also be noted that Jujuga was also a state police lieutenant in the narcotics department. He had no problem ruining people's lives because they possessed or sold marijuana. I think that's a fair comment. On one side as a state police trooper, and then on the other side as a lobbyist for medical marijuana. That's a valid point, listener. Thank you for your comment. There are others. This is where, like I said, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. We're calling this Jim Jujuga's Pottersville. Now, we've actually heard other comments, some of them, different puns. I think David Goudsworth had one earlier. I think it's on the message board now. So Jujuga is blowing smoke. I think Nate had one. I can't remember what it was. Nate had one.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Or you can smoke 'em out. Or I'm sure there's some others. That some of them probably aren't suitable for all audiences. All right. So while you're thinking about that, and of course these are open lines, this is the Open Mic Show. So if you have another topic you want to raise, give us a call, 978-374-1900. Just in case you're forgetting, because we've only received one tonight, I think some people are seeing the bulletin board on the TV station and thinking, oh, it must be a repeat. No, the show is live. If you want to see the program, you can go to WHAV.tv. TV while Haverhill Community Television works on that broken computer. But meanwhile, if you know someone who's having a birthday or an anniversary in October, give us a call now, because next week we'll draw the winner. You could win, or the recipient can win, a 7-inch cake, vanilla or chocolate, from LBD's second-generation Italian bakery, 140 South Main Street on the Bradford side of the river. Now, all you have to do, don't be shy, just call 978-374-1900. Wish someone a happy birthday or a happy anniversary. And if you must, wish yourself a happy birthday or a happy anniversary. That is perfectly allowed. And if you want to make sure you get a piece of cake, well, just wish everyone in the neighborhood, find out their birthdays and anniversaries, and make sure that you're invited over when the cake arrives. So it's really easy, and it's free. No cost to enter. Just wish someone a happy birthday or a happy anniversary. Their name will go in the hat. We'll do the drawing next week. Now for another nifty gift, $10 gift certificate to Kimball Tavern Antiques, corner of Salem and South Main Streets, again on the Bradford side of the river. Name the oldest bowling league in Haverhill. Name the oldest bowling league in Haverhill. Here's a hint. The name has something to do with cooking, and it's warm. Take a guess. You're not going to embarrass yourself. Look what I just went through in the last half hour. No, so take a guess. Name the oldest bowling league in Haverhill. And the Wood brothers worked together on this, the proprietors of Kimball Tavern Antiques. And then we hear from one of the brothers, Wood, who calls in the questions, has some comments. So, they really do keep their support. All right. How are we doing on time? We got about 6 minutes before the hour. Let me also tell you, the first person who wants to visit the John Greenleaf Whittier Birthplace House Museum for free, just call, be the first to request it, and you'll receive your ticket. All right. Nate Webster, WHAV Sports, WHAV producer, all kinds of things. Nate represented WHAV at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for NASCAR. And Nate, are you ready to talk about it? He got some photographs. I think I sent you. Did you get all those too? All right. So Nate's not ready. He's actually preparing the photographs because he's also a producer. But Nate was there. If you heard the news on WHAV today, one of Nate's report was I think it was a tire changing contest or something like that. I guess I don't follow the sport that closely to know that there were such contests as that. I wonder how we could do that at WHAV. People come and change the tires on my car. More likely they'll just take them away. Not quite sure how that works. All right, Nate is getting ready. I hear some clicking. Nate, are you there?
I'm here, Tim.
All right, Nate, tell us what it's like to be a reporter covering NASCAR. You walk in the media area, you get to see the drivers, you get to apparently see cars getting new tires.
Yeah, actually, I don't actually get to go on pit road during the race, but I get to go on pit road before the race, and I do see preparations made on pit road. And I do get to see, the Sprint Cup fan experience. I get to see things going on in that area. I get to go see the display row. I get to go see the drivers in the media center. One of the pictures I took, which I'm going to put up on the screen right now, is race winner Joey Logano. He came in first. He drives the number 222 Pennzoil Shell for Penske Motors.
Those of you who are listening only, you can go to WHAV.tv to see these photographs.
Yeah, so there's Joey Logano to his left, or I think it's my right. I'm not sure which one it is his crew chief, and the guy in the white shirt and the red hat is the car owner, Walter I can't say that right. Sarnecki, Walter Sarnecki is his name. Todd Gordon is his crew chief, and Joey Logano's seated in the middle, and he won the race on Sunday.
All right. By the time it appears on my screen, you'll be on to the next topic.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so that's the photograph.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this next photograph coming up is the tire change competition. So in the Sprint Cup fan experience, there were people who got to duel against each other on each side of the pace car. Not the pace car, the sprint car. Special sprint car that the front end came off of, and it just had the front end and 2 tires. They had guys on each side with air guns, and the quickest guy who could take the lug nuts off, put them back on again, and put their hands up in the air would win. And they got it down to one guy who, I'll show you the picture.
I think I saw this
guy.
on I Love Lucy once.
Yeah. This guy here, his name was Mike. They just talked about him in the race recap. He is from
Foxborough?
From Foxborough, right? Yeah. And he was the winner of a new Sprint phone. Brand new Sprint phone on his birthday, no less. This was his birthday on Sunday. So he won a Sprint phone on his birthday.
He didn't enter our contest last month. Okay.
No. Let me see if I can bring up the picture of him. There he is with Miss Sprint Cup, Madison Martin. And she's interviewing him about winning the tire change competition in the Sprint fan experience. And basically, they were giving away lanyards. I got a lanyard signed by Miss Sprint Cup Madison Martin. She signed it.
If I were you, I would not have said that. That means Jack Bevelock was going to call the radio station and ask for it.
No, that's okay. My daughter's already claimed it, so so that's already gone to my daughter. And she's kind of a Kyle Busch fan. She was a little bit of a Kyle Busch fan. She's not really too much into it now, but when I started getting the racing games on TV, the Nintendo games and stuff, she became a Kyle Busch fan only because of the M&M's car. Okay. That was it, just because of the sponsor. But I don't like Kyle Busch. I hate him. But that's my opinion. So, because he doesn't sign autographs, he just passes by people, doesn't stop and say hi.
Okay, not because of his driving. It's about how he treats fans.
It's because of the fans. I mean, I don't think I see him doing any fan work that he should be doing. So,
all right, folks. What do you think of that, folks? Have you ever run across a celebrity and felt put off by them, or maybe you felt like you were bothering them after the news? That's a topic you can try. I mean, maybe you're afraid to talk about something new. You don't have to talk about the topic that we have on the. It's fun as it is.
Yeah, when I went to the media center and wanted to interview Joey Logano, I felt like I was kind of bothering him to ask him a question, even though that's what I was there to do, was ask him a question. So I let other people ask the questions, and I just jotted down notes.
These people wouldn't be racing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, we asked the questions, the tough questions, and we asked the questions about, what's going through their mind when they're racing, and what they're thinking of when they're passing guys, and what they're thinking of when someone tries to intentionally wreck them, and that's what the media does. Is we report those stories true to hand, especially live at the racetrack Sunday. I'm tweeting like crazy every time there's a caution and everything's going on. It's just it's nuts. So, and I got to answer the phone.
Okay, now he's going back to being a producer, but I'll tell you what, while he's doing that, I'm hoping he can also listen to me, because we'll take a break for news and weather, but I think he's got to take that call first. But if you can do both, we're going to go to news, weather, we're going to hear a little more about NASCAR, and hopefully take your calls on the way back.
Open mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
It's 8:03.
WHAV Merrimack Valley. WHAV is a not-for-profit service of Public Media of New England Incorporated. It's heard on 1640 AM, the web at WHAV.net, and participating cable television stations.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nina Maria Potts with the latest world news. The United Nations has called for urgent help for Turkey, which is dealing with a refugee crisis along its border with Syria. The UN's Human Rights Agency says that some 130,000 Syrian refugees have crossed the border in recent days. Syrian Kurds are fleeing in their tens of thousands from Islamic State militants who've grabbed control of large parts of Iraq and Syria in recent months. Turkey has now closed the majority of its border with Syria. Laura Wells is a freelance journalist in Istanbul.
Turkey keeps on opening and closing the border. They say it's because of security reasons. But of course, this is a very large number of refugees to come in at one time in a very remote area of Turkey, and they certainly want to prevent a humanitarian crisis.
Western militaries are reportedly engaged in an urgent effort to train Kurdish fighters to combat Islamic State militants. As Malcolm Brown reports, the US and allied nations are trying to address shortcomings in forces which are central to the anti-ISIS strategy.
American, British and French advisors are reportedly on the ground in northern Iraq, working to boost the capabilities of Kurdish forces. The Wall Street Journal reports that the training includes the use of sophisticated weapons, such as advanced anti-tank missiles. The paper says the Western trainers are also working to transform the Peshmerga from a predominantly guerrilla fighting force to a more organized force, capable of urban combat and holding ground. Malcolm Brown, Washington.
Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko is continuing to defend a peace plan agreed Saturday despite more reported deaths of government troops. The ceasefire talks in the Belarusian capital Minsk resulted in both sides consenting to create a buffer zone between the opposing forces, but Kiev says it won't be implemented until the violations stop. Jack Parrock reports from Moscow.
A Ukrainian government military official says they've had 2 men killed since Saturday and estimated the pro-Russian rebels had lost 40. An original ceasefire agreement from September the 5th was largely violated by fighting on both sides. The new one is to prevent military aircraft flying over the battle sites and for both sides to withdraw weapons over 100mm caliber back 15 kilometres. Separatists are currently in control of the disputed city of Donetsk, while government forces are held up at the city's airport. Russia continues to deny any involvement in the conflict, which has killed over 3,000 people.
The US Secret Service is launching a full review of Friday night's security breach at the White House. That's according to presidential spokesperson Josh Earnest. He said President Obama was obviously concerned that an Iraq war veteran had simply jumped over the fence, run across the White House lawn and entered the building before he was caught. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Here's what's happening in local news. Further discussion expected from the Haverhill City Council about proposed changes to the city's trash and recycling collection system. On Tuesday's meeting agenda, City Councilor William Masick has requested a discussion on a so-called alternative plan for voluntary waste reduction and curbside pickup of trash and recycling. Masick recently criticized Mayor James J. Fiorentini's proposal under a new trash pickup contract to bring automated trash and recycling pickup using new 65-gallon containers and trucks equipped with a robotic arm to empty them. Also in council matters, plans to further discuss the request by developer Magnum Partners LLC that the city accept Magna Vista Drive and Perspective Drive as public ways may be subject to further delay. Magnum Partners LLC member Stephen Doherty is requesting the council further postpone a scheduled public hearing until next week's regular meeting in order to ensure all outstanding items required by the Conservation Committee are completed. The Haverhill City Council meets at 7 p.m. Tuesday in council chambers at Haverhill City Hall. The Massachusetts State Police are investigating a hit-and-run crash that killed a pedestrian at 3:40 a.m. Monday on Route 495 northbound in North Andover. A state police spokesperson said the deceased victim is a woman who was in the road. The woman's identity is not being released at this time. Police are seeking a later model black or dark-colored pickup with Massachusetts plates and running boards. The truck may have front-end damage. State police say the truck continued to travel northbound on 495 after hitting the woman. Facts and circumstances of the crash, including why the victim was on foot in the roadway, remain under investigation. Anyone with information about the truck or the crash is urged to call the Massachusetts State Police Andover Barracks at 978-475-3800. 2 people are due to face drunk driving charges in Haverhill District Court after their arrest by Haverhill Police over the weekend during separate traffic stops. Haverhill Police report 37-year-old Tiandra Johnson-Smith of Lynn was taken into custody at 11 p.m. Sunday at 16 Ferry Street. Saturday night, police arrested 59-year-old Karen Labarge of Haverhill in a traffic stop at 415 Primrose Street. Each driver is charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. In sports, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action at New Hampshire Motor Speedway Sunday. Joey Logano talks about his win.
Started 7th today and was able to work our way up a little bit in the beginning of the race. Felt like, okay, we got something that we can contend with for a victory with. And we came in, Todd put 4 tires on it. At that point, I thought he was crazy because we came out 16th. Our goal coming into the race is, get to the next round, right? We got to get to the next round to win the championship. That's our ultimate goal, is to win the championship.
Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source, and it's always free. In the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, this is Dana Esmail.
WAVE weather.
I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre with WAVE weather. We're looking at clear skies headed through the nighttime hours, the temperature dropping to 43. Sunshine on Tuesday, a high of 69. It's going to be clear and cool Tuesday night with a low down to 45. And then we get sunshine for Wednesday with a high of 63. And that sunshine will continue right into Thursday and Friday. Now, Thursday's high will be somewhere near 68. And then by Friday, we're looking for a high temperature of about 72 degrees. I'm WHAV meteorologist Rob St. Pierre. Your next WAVE weather in 30 minutes.
Listen to The Wave with fewer interruptions, no pop-ups, and a choice of players by tuning directly from www.whav.net.
WHAV, Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
And you are tuned correctly for WHAV's Open Mic Show. I'm Tim Coco. Your host, Nathan E. Webster III, is in master control. This hour of the Open Mic Show is being brought to you by the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council. Smart companies. Choose the Merrimack Valley. Let's start right off with the phones. You are on the Open Mic Show.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good. Nice to hear from you again.
Yeah, I have a birthday from my sister.
Birthday wishes. Wonderful. When's your sister's birthday?
October 27th.
October 27th. And can you tell us her first name?
Barbara.
Happy birthday, Barbara.
Yeah.
All right, so Barbara's name is going to go into the hat.
Okay.
We're going to do that drawing next week. How have you been?
Pretty good. How you been?
Very good, thank you.
That's good.
What do you think of our some of our news topics? Like, what do you think of the former senator and Methuen City Councilor and Haverhill native Jim Jajuga getting paid $66,500 for a month of work, getting city officials to sign on to a medical marijuana dispensary in Haverhill? You want $66,500 for a month of work?
It seems like it's a lot. I thought he shouldn't really get it. It's like a lot. It is a lot.
No, it's amazing. Now, this gentleman, I believe, also has pensions from the state as a state trooper. And again, one of our listeners correctly noted that when Jajuga was lieutenant with the state police, he certainly had no tolerance for people with marijuana. But it's funny, money can change your views, can't it?
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Money can, yeah.
All right. Well, make sure your sister knows we all wished her a happy birthday. Her name's been added to the hat, and we'll do a drawing next week about this time, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Another listener who thinks $66,500 for a month of work is nice work if you can get it. All right, I believe Nate's sending another call in. You are on the open mic show.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the open mic.
Oh, yes. I believe that the league might be the Hot Stove League.
I think it is so close
Or
that
something like that. Is it? Hot Stove? I'm almost... I don't know. I just remember that. I used to be a bowler myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
I bowled.
You know what? I think...
But my father also, he was a pin setter.
Really? Your father was a pin setter. For which alley?
Oh, I believe it was the one on Water Street, but I'm not sure. He may have set him other places, too, because I remember my oldest brother used to go with him, too, and they would set pins.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to say that you've won this. It's Libro's Hot Stove.
Oh, I don't know about the names, but I remember there was a league called Hot Stove.
You win. That was a tough question. So,
But I don't want any prize, anyways, because
well, you don't
I
want
don't need any collectibles.
Oh, well, it's not just collectibles.
That's okay. Let them give it to somebody else or put it on,
Well, you're sure we can't send you a gift certificate? You might want to give it as a gift to someone.
Yeah. No, that's okay. That's okay.
All right. So, are you a regular open mic show listener?
Oh, yeah, sure, I do. Yeah, most of the time I turn it on. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And
I did have a birthday, but I told the fella there, a couple actually. One's my grandson and one's my great grandson. But they're not living like right here now. But I'm just putting the names in to see if it comes up.
Well, okay. You put the names in. What are their names? First names?
Corey.
And
the other one, baby, he'll be 3. But, Wells, it's just spelled, he took his name, Wells.
All right. Well, I'm sure that maybe if you tell them you have a cake, if one of them wins, they'll come and make sure they visit you. Now,
I'm hoping, yeah.
All right. Well,
but they do come around, but it's...
All right, what part of the city do you live in?
Haverhill. I'm right up. I live at up near, up 97.
All right, so near Ayers Village, or?
Yeah.
Oh, very, very good, very good. So you've won the trivia question. You should reconsider, though, if you want that gift certificate.
That's okay. Thank you. Anyway.
We can do that, and it's always good to hear from you. What do you think of our news topic that former Senator...
I can't believe that when they found out the way it was done in the beginning, it was
a letter
it was
that
great to do it, but now it's okay, and they'll leave it, and they're still making it eligible.
Yeah, I think
not the way it was done. How can you do that?
That's right. If these people became eligible because they had all of these so-called points from local officials,
and it still counts.
And then all those local officials said, "No, we didn't intend to endorse this."
And are they? And according to what's being said now, they're still eligible?
Yeah, I think some people are going to be looking into that. I think you'll find another good story in HAV soon. But how would you like to make $66,500 for a month of work?
Oh my goodness! I mean, it's unreal.
No, it's
really. I mean, he must have had a lot of figuring a lot of self-confidence to think he could.
Well, money.
A lot of self-confidence, but it wasn't. It was on the backs of people that were not too happy, and rightly so, of how we did it.
That's the problem with money in politics.
Yeah, you just, how can you? I don't know. How can you do it? But it happens every day, and I don't know. We just don't make it any better because we keep.
Well, we'll just keep.
It's okay.
We'll just keep putting it out there, and at least the public knows. And then
he's so well known too.
Yeah, he's probably not too happy with WHAV right now, but
Well, I have to tell you one thing. I said you're not. You tell it the way it is, and you. I mean, somebody has to.
Well, I just think that that's the role of the media, and
There's too much stuff out there that doesn't mean anything.
I just think that we don't have a good democracy if citizens don't know when they're voting that some of these people on the ballot are into these, well, let's just call them shadier practices.
I know it. I mean, this state has been, I think it's been very good to Mr. Jajuga.
Well, I got a few pensions anyway out of it, but I guess that's never enough.
But they still made them eligible. I mean, when they saw the way it was done, then it's not valid.
And I think that that's what city councilors John Mitchison, Bob Scatamachi all want to get
I
answers.
give him credit for speaking up like that.
Yeah, on October 1st, they're going to have a meeting. They're hoping that someone from the State Department of Public Health will be there.
Somebody should have to answer for it.
Well, I mean, it's just sort of being railroaded. Again, the voters approved it. That's not the issue. The issue is the process.
Yes, we said that we would, back having a place, but not the way they did it.
No, absolutely right.
It was, just not right. I don't care any way they want to.
Well, anyway, happy birthday to Corey and Wells.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the hot stove. We didn't think anyone was going to be able to get that.
Well, it just, it was just, I read like different things on sports and stuff like that sometimes. But bowling, it's always been, in my family, so.
Excellent. Now, I used to be able to do gutter balls. Does that count for anything?
Well, you could have set up one of those type of things for people that are handicapped.
Oh, yes.
They have a bowl. At least they have a good time bowling like that.
Kind of reminds me of an old Laverne and Shirley episode, I think, when she went to bowl and she turned around and almost bowled it at the other side.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Well, that is pretty impressive. We made a judge's call on that because I thought we were never going to get any closer to that. We'll have to figure out what our friends at Kimball Tavern Antiques want to do about the prize because this woman does not thought it would be better to go to someone else. So we'll see what the Brothers Wood tell us to do with that. But we're still taking birthdays and giving out a John Greenleaf Whittier free pass. So why don't you think about that? Give us a call. Meanwhile, we're going to break for Community Spotlight. Hey, Nate, is Martha doing this one as well? Community Spotlight, because you're going to hear from Martha Melendez again, WHAV intern who was on the program last hour. We'll be back after that.
Open mic!
Tim Coco and the Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900 or email tcoco@whav.net. If you are enjoying this program, please consider making a donation right now. Your donations to not-for-profit WHAV help keep these vital community services on the air. Donate online at www.whav.net.
Phil Christie here. Last year, WHAV helped local nonprofits by airing 8,780 community spotlight messages. Only local radio can bring you this level of public service, but only WHAV does.
Community Spotlight is brought to you by Haverhill Bank. Haverhill Bank is a generous supporter of the area's civic and cultural programs.
That's all it takes is just one bank. Haverhill Bank. Community Spotlight.
Beginning Friday, October 10th at 1 p.m., the Haverhill Council on Aging is offering a new social media class. Laurie Cranton is leading a group of seniors through the social media WHAV. Class will be held at the Citizen Center, 10 Welcome Street, Haverhill. Participants are required to bring in a laptop, tablet, or smartphone to join the class. Wi-Fi is available for participants. For more information on the class and to register, contact Kathy Bresnahan or Rita Labella at 978-374-2390. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at whav.net or email news@whav.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, this is Martha Melendez.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson newsroom, WHAV presents the Open Mic Show with Tim Coco. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900. Or email tcoco@whav.net.
Welcome back to the Open Mic Show, a 50-year staple of democracy in the Merrimack Valley. This hour of the Open Mic Show being brought to you by our good friends at the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council. Smart companies choose the Merrimack Valley. All right, so what's one of our closing lines? Every time a bell rings, someone takes a puff. All right, we're going to just play on the Pottersville theme from It's a Wonderful Life. Jim Jujuga's Pottersville. All right. Maybe we've milked that as far as we can go, but it's a good topic about money in politics. If you recall, the League of Women Voters did a great program last year with two nationally renowned speakers at Northern Essex Community College about the contaminating impact of money in politics. That's why the Commonwealth of Massachusetts does have a lobbying law, but it seems like it almost wasn't adhered to earlier this year, because when WHAV News checked the list of lobbyists, and lobbyists not only have to register their own names, they have to register the names of their clients, they have to tell how much money they made, and they also have to tell which political contributions they made during the same period, so voters couldn't decide. All right, we're going to go to the phones. Probably our last call of the evening. You're on the Open Mic Show.
Good evening, Tim. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Just a couple of stories. Today's local newspaper had a story about Haverhill stepping up to the plate and addressing some of their CSO problems, their combined sewer overflow problems. And I just wanted to point out that there is a consent decree, and quite a number of communities along the Merrimack had to sign on to this agreement to address these problems, they've been kind of reticent at doing it.
This is so that we don't. Let's do this short. So we don't overwhelm the wastewater treatment facilities by letting runoff go into the systems. Is that?
That's right. Combined sewer overflow. They've been designed many years ago, and this was common practice. Boston was one of the biggest. And so the problem, though, is Haverhill could step up to the plate as they're going to do. And what they're doing is minimal, but it's going to cost some money to the taxpayers, and there'll be additional money down the road. But what good is it unless the other communities do likewise? You know what I mean?
No, actually,
Haverhill could clean up theirs, but the river would still be not swimmable, which is a goal.
I think you have pointed out accurately that another problem is upriver. We get all kinds of stuff when
from Concord,
and we even get parts of their treatment plant once in a while.
Yes, in Hooksett, remember?
That's right.
We got the meteor, and they picked it up. I think they picked it up in Truro someplace.
So we had all those.
The other story that was kind of interesting. So, it should have been. It should be a regional plan to address these, with all the communities doing something, and maybe with that kind of numbers of communities and people involved and interested, we might get a congressional delegation to come up to vote to try to get funding for this, because we're talking about what do they call it? unfunded liabilities by the federal government.
That's right, the unfunded mandates.
Yeah,
That's
unfunded
right.
mandate. That's it.
That's right.
And the other short story was in the Tribune was about a teenager that has beehives.
Oh,
and
yes.
I'll tell you a sad story about that. A fellow that lived next to me had a couple of beehives in his yard, and he was harvesting the honey, and the queen bee got loose and came over to my yard, and I had a prize golden retriever female who everybody wanted to breed to.
Oh.
And she got stung by the bees, and by the time I got her to the vet, she had died with epileptic shock.
Oh,
now,
no.
That could have been one of my kids, or it could have been me, or it could have been my wife.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it almost seems like
That's a tragedy.
if the beehive in Methuen is next to your next door neighbor, there might be some risk there.
Very interesting. Very interesting you raised that.
My question would be, and I've asked it. I'd like to ask it to an attorney. Would there be any liability here? If something like this happened, nowadays with so many lawyers looking for work.
That's an interesting
would there be
question.
any kind of litigation? Would anybody?
Well, I actually know a lawyer who is a beekeeper. I wonder if he'd be a good candidate.
I wish he could come on the program and talk a little about
He's
it.
probably listening. I don't know if we have time to take a call from him, but
I hope. Well, maybe next week.
But that's an interesting question.
It was really a sad situation. The children were so.
Yeah, that is.
And every time we took Sandy, that was her name, Sandy, to the vets, and we had her examined for hip dysplasia, which is caused by inbreeding, and also eyesight. And so she was a prize candidate for breeding. And when we go to the veterinarians, everybody would say, "Gee, can I have a golden retriever? Could we? I'll give you first of the litter."
Yes.
And we were just getting ready to do that, and it cost me some money to have doctors look at her, veterinarians look at her.
It's funny. I can't imagine anyone being ready with like an EpiPen for their pet.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Interesting question. And then
and other people are not only impacted by bee stings, but they're really sensitive. Elderly or people who are not in good health.
That's a very
affect them
interesting.
even more.
It's an interesting question, and maybe when we have our guest on, we'll broaden the topic a little bit, because I understand that a lot of beehives are actually being wiped out, even in the wild, by something that's going on.
Yes, there is some kind of a virus or another predator or something like that. Yeah. All right, Tim.
Well, thank you very much for your telephone
I'm sorry
call.
I got in so late, but
That's okay.
Methuen School Committee were doing their mea culpas tonight, and because I think the tests and evaluations are coming out tomorrow.
Oh, the MCAS, or?
Yeah, well, they've changed the names of them so many times.
Oh, that's right. Well,
but
the
the
core.
evaluation of the school districts, I think, are coming out tomorrow. It would be interesting to see how Lawrence is going to do.
Actually,
as a result of Mr. Riley and the state taking over the schools. I bet you there'll be an improvement.
And tomorrow night, the City Council takes up that matter that you discussed last week about
the solid waste, curbside.
The toters, and the Council of Masuk has proposed an alternative. I don't know if you happened to catch it, but you were on our newscast all day Tuesday.
Is that right?
Because of your comments on the open mic show regarding those toters.
One of the things that in doing my research, I noticed, I talked to people in other communities and at the top of their concerns were the concern on the elderly and how they were going to get the totes out there. And I hopefully, Councilor Masek, who is a pretty smart guy, hopefully he has put together an alternative which will address this and many other issues with it. And I just hope that the Mayor Fiorini, who I consider, a good mayor, will listen attentively to Councilor Masek's proposal.
Yeah, I find the City Council and the Mayor actually do work well together, and I'm sure a compromise will come forward, but I guess we'll know more after tomorrow night's meeting.
And the the idea of getting collaborative together and looking at the combined sewer overflow issue as a regional issue, I think that Mayor Fiorini would be an excellent person to kind of spearhead that kind of an effort, because he has a way of persuading some of these congressional candidates to do his bidding and to do his wish.
You're listening to Mayor Fiorentini. Jerry thinks that you have the stature to pull together our elected officials.
And also the political know-how.
And the political know-how.
Hey, basically, it'd be almost like a WPA project, right?
Yeah, well, certainly. Put some people to work, too. You're absolutely right.
Funding, an unfunded mandate that would be funded. People would be able to go to work. It would improve the regional economy. I mean, it's an ideal project. During the WPA years, they used to do this. They'd build swimming pools and libraries and firehouses and no nonsense program. Yeah. Just at the end of the week, you went up and got your cash.
That's a good point, and actually, we need work on our infrastructure. Jerry, we're out of time.
We certainly do.
But thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Take care. Talk to you next week. Take care. All right, that's it for the Open Mic Show, short bonus show this week. Next week, get in your birthday and anniversary wishes early because at 8:15 we announce the winner of the LBD's Second Generation Italian Bakery Cake Contest. Have a great week.
Open Mic!
Join Tim Coco live on the Open Mic again next Monday night at 6:30. The opinions expressed on the Open Mic Show are not necessarily those of WHAV, its underwriters, or affiliated stations. The Open Mic Show came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom.
It's 8:35.
Would you like to hear the WAV on your stereo, or even better, anywhere in your home? Check out the tips for better sound at www.whav.net.
Catch the wave!
This is Tom Hartman inviting you to tune in to the Tom Hartman program on WHAV every weekday beginning at 3. I'll be here 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, taking your calls live. We'll tackle critical issues that impact working people at home, on the job, and throughout society. The Tom Hartman program is your media support group for We the People. Again, please join me weekdays beginning at 3 right here on WHAV. Remember,